Welcome to episode 40, and again, we have another special guest joining us later in today's show. However, as always, joining me is a lady as scary as a Rancor, but as loyal as a Wookiee, and looks to even rival that of Padme. It's Taylor.
Hello there.
Last but not very least, he's as intimidating as Marshawn Rowe, but as soft as an Ewok, and as hairy, and almost as old as Yoda. It's Jimmy.
Oh, man. All right.
So,
howdy, everyone.
We'll start with Taylor. How's your week been, mate?
It could be better. I hurt my back this week at work, so I feel like the oldest person on our podcast today. I literally picked up a clump of bamboo, like with dirt and roots, because I'm a gardener, and freaking just hurt my back so bad I can't even move my left leg. So if I'm like sitting weird, that's why. But I've been able to watch a lot of rewatch a Bad Batch and reading a lot, so it's good actually. Maybe I should do this more often.
Awesome.
How about you, Jimmy?
I have had a heck of a week. You guys can probably hear my voice is a little strained. We went up against the Evil Empire yesterday as the underdogs. And if you check out Facebook, you can see me doing a victorious belly flopper into the pool.
Yeah, that looked painful.
It was more painful. I think I may have given myself a slight concussion last night because I felt my head whip back, and I committed. I went all in, baby. I was super pumped. Those boys went in. I'm not seeing anything like that in sports. You know, as a coach, they rallied. We ended up beating the team by like 40 points, a team that we were supposed to lose to, and just a testament to those boys and the environment that we've created for my assistant coaches. So, all the early mornings and late nights and talking to the boys and yelling at the boys and getting them focused. It's just, when you have an atmosphere like that in sports, it's nothing beats it. And they're doing it for each other. You know, I know some people don't like sports, but if you could see an atmosphere where those boys rose up together and just kind of joined together like the Rebel Alliance,
yes,
beat the Evil Empire, it was phenomenal to be a part of. So, I had a really good week. And then we're headed to state this week, and then we'll have our Swim to a Wish event the weekend after that. But, so real busy, really awesome. How about you, Jack? How have you been?
Yeah, no, I've not been too bad. I just build on what you said there. Big shout out to the Derby Panthers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Also, a big shout out to them, the coaches, Danny Smith and Sam Pinkerton.
Good job,
kudos to what you guys do. I've got a lot of respect for people, mate, that go out of their way, take their own time up to improve with people, especially children, stuff like that. So, yeah, kudos to you guys. My week's been quite steady, if I'm honest, mate. Managed to start Eye of Darkness. I'm currently now at the point where they're chatting to Elzar Mann, and he's just met Yoda and Yoda's special guest, which I won't reveal because obviously spoilers. That blew my mind a little bit, so I need to do some research into who that guy is. I can't think where I've heard of that guy before. But yeah, nice and steady, enjoying Eye of Darkness, all been good. Awesome. So, this week then, we've had another large influx of followers, as always, joining us. So again, special shout out to the following people.
First off, we've got Brian Hunter, also known as BAM, and the owner of Wizards Asylum, which is soon to become Wizards Alley, which is soon to host May the 4th trivia for the Humane Society. We got it. We started pushing forward today. BAM actually sent me some artwork of some Humane Society type creatures as Star Wars characters for the t-shirts and things like that.
Nice.
And we're kind of just getting things off the ground, but I'm really excited to get this back going on and doing some charity work. And we're going to get his new establishment's going to be really cool to help him get that.
Yeah.
We're going to get our name out there a little bit more, but then more importantly, I love animals, I love my dogs, and we're going to be hopefully raise a bunch of money. So if you're in the area, you're local, I'll probably have something with the t-shirts so we can do some orders like that. We'll send them out, but as we get them. But May the 4th trivia for the Humane Society here in Wichita, Kansas. More information to come. So a big shout out to Brian for joining. We also have Tom Kerr, Wayne Cooper Smith, and Richard Pottle.
Nice. Also on top of that, we've got Darren Daz Green, Craig Gaylord, Ryan Barlow, Edward Van Weyden, Lee Moore, and Paul Shipper. Another special explorer joining us. Paul Shipper interesting fact about that gentleman, he's the one who made the recently released Empire magazine covers for the Phantom Menace 25th anniversary. So if you've not seen those, get out there and definitely search them up. I would absolutely love those posters on my wall. Personal favourite, I prefer the light side to the dark side covers, just because I absolutely love the Mace Windu. But yeah, thank you guys as always for joining us again. Anyone that jumps aboard, feel free to post all over our social media pages on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on X, YouTube, and on TikTok. Explore the Force. Again, thank you guys for joining.
Yeah, welcome aboard. Safety's on.
Okay, next up then is this week's Force Encounters. So this week for myself, I have a super interesting Force encounter at work. So I got chatting to a guy that basically gives us our ammo for when we're firing. And he's always wearing Star Wars shirts. I've mentioned him before. I started talking to him about Star Wars, and he looks so much like Mark Hamill from The Last Jedi. It is unbelievable. Anyway, turns out he's not a massive Star Wars fan. He does like Star Wars. However, he has a friend called Bradley Walsh, who's basically the stuntman for Anthony Daniels, and apart from Anthony Daniels, is the only person that has wore C-3PO's costume. So he's a stunt guy. Yeah. Spoken to John, the ammo guy, and I might be getting some contact details, and hopefully we might be able to get him on as a guest. Who knows?
That would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. What about you, Taylor?
My Force encounter, I've just been working on, I have Fan Expo Vancouver coming up next weekend. And I really want to bring my High Republic Jedi cosplay, but it's not done yet. So I've been working on that all week, and I've been listening to my audio books, and that's been keeping me motivated, except for now I have a broken back, so I'm trying to do it without bending my back. So. Yeah.
What about you, Jimmy?
Yes, so I had an awesome Force encounter this week.
Nice.
As part of that league swimming and diving, we had diving on Friday morning afternoon. So I got to be in the hometown of one Clan Brandalorian, and he and I met up for breakfast. And he's just as handsome in real life. We had a great breakfast. It was fun just sitting there talking some Star Wars, making some plans maybe to travel together for some of these cons, possibly go out there and do a joint effort between us. And it's just kind of fun to be able to sit and talk with people. And again, we've talked about this a lot, and something why do we love doing this? And yeah, I'm in Salina 2 or 3 times a year every year, for sports and stuff like that, and I'd never know who that guy was. And now I feel like we got a friend. Every time I go up there, I'm like, hey man, what's happening? Go see him and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. It was really fun. It was good to see him, and hopefully it won't be the last time.
Yeah, I'm sure it won't be. Absolute legend, Brandalorian. He's always messaging me. We do have a good chat as well. Make sure you check out his page on Instagram and YouTube, Clan Brandalorian. Absolutely fantastic guy. Awesome. That wraps up then this week's Force Encounters. All right then, let's head over to the news then and see what news we've got for you this week.
All right, so Bob Iger has said that the Mandalorian and Grogu film will be released in 2026. However, we do know that there is another scheduled in December that same year. However, with filming rumored to start June this year, it would make sense that this is the first film of the 3 dates that we know of so far.
Man, I love how they just throw this. They just throw this film that we haven't even heard of at Celebration or anything in front of all the ones they announced at Celebration. Why are you doing this to us, Disney? Obviously, we want more films, but
because they're going to do most of it on the Zoom or the volume,
and
it's going to be easy and fast to make. And I'm afraid that it's going to look like the TV show just on the big screen.
I hope not.
Do you guys have any of those fears? I hope I'm wrong, but my complaints with the Zoom.
Yeah, there's obviously
the volume.
there has to be a reason behind it. Something's happened, or something's in the pipeline for it to be speeded up or chucked out quicker than usual, I think. Especially for saying it was supposed to be a season, and that's down to just a film. So, who knows? I enjoyed watching The Mandalorian Season 3 at Celebration on the big screen. I thought it was fantastic, apart from Paz dying, but spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it.
So good. Next, we have Empire Magazine has released 2 special edition covers for the 25th anniversary of the prequels, featuring both the light side and the dark side, which actually has Anakin Skywalker on both. I really like the light side one. Just, I don't know, I like all the gold and you know, Liam Neeson's on the front. It's awesome. I like it.
We had TikTok vote. 62% went light side, 38% on the dark side. It was pretty similar on our Instagram poll as well. Nice. I like them both. The only thing that makes me mad is I thought we were getting like bigger news. Like, these things are great and I love them. I feel like that tease was the expectations. I think as fans, we probably let ourselves get 100%.
And this was the perfect example of Star Wars fans at their worst.
Yeah,
we're all a bunch of
every single Star Wars fan instantly took to social media thinking, "Well, what do I want the most? I'm going to put it out on there, and hopefully it's that." And it's not. I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably what they did intentionally, because they want us talking, even if it's like negative, they think we're getting a release of a film, or something, but we're getting, Well, actually, I'm really excited for the interviews and stuff, but
I'm excited for it. It's just, Jack, you said it. I mean, we are all guilty of. Less than 24 hours, and you thought that they were going to announce something massive and all this stuff. And I saw those 2 articles. I saw those 2 things. I think you guys posted. And I was like, oh, those are cool. I'm like, when is that information coming out?
It's like, that is it.
Yeah. Like, oh, that's it. And I was like, oh, okay. Those are really. And they are beautiful. And I'm not taking anything away from one of our new Facebook page people, and he did an amazing job.
Yeah,
my expectations are here. But again, Jack, you're right. I think the Star Wars fans are our own worst enemy.
Yeah,
when it comes to that. And I will learn from this lesson moving forward and have patience like a Jedi should.
Yeah, we say that all the time, but we won't. We absolutely won't. And like you said, because Paul Schiffer did an absolutely amazing job on the artwork, I think that sort of lessened the blow for people that expected.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. They are gorgeous. Yeah.
Kudos to Paul Schiffer putting out the fires before they started, I think. Last but not least, there was a new snippet of the new Bad Batch season being released that shows Crosshair and Omega talking about escaping. Check it out. It's on StarWars.com. We've also posted it all over our Facebook page as well. Explore the Force. Interesting little clip, to be honest, watching Omega and Crosshair talking. Lots of now fear is going around about redemption for Crosshair. I think that's what everyone wants. But interesting enough about the clip was Crosshair doesn't look convinced that they can actually escape, which tells me he's obviously tried a few times.
He always has that broken look, though.
But yeah, interesting. Also, there's some news about Andor Season 2 was released on the social media, I think for Diego Luna, off the top of my head, basically saying that they'd wrapped up filming for Season 2. Cannot wait for that. Obviously that'll go into the final stages of editing, production, all that good stuff. So that hopefully will get released quite soon. Well, not quite soon, but sooner than expected. And also there's rumours again floating about. We've just been on about it, Jimmy, about Patience, but I'm losing my mind now. Acolyte apparently being released in the summer. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. And obviously we've got the Super Bowl on shortly. Are we going to go see a trailer? I'm stopping up to watch it all, and fingers will be crossed. And like Jimmy's just said there, having the patience of a Jedi, I will totally hype it all up, and I'll be there tomorrow morning crying in my pillow because nothing's been released. So fully expecting that. What do you reckon, Jimmy?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that I don't think if they're going to start releasing in May or June, a little teaser trailer, even the trailer they showed us at Celebration will get people talking.
Yeah, why hasn't that been released yet?
I'm worried though that they don't want to overstep Bad Batch before it gets started.
Yes.
So I would think from a marketing standpoint, but I don't know how much they care about their animation side of things. Like, I'm not sure Bob Iger, where he stands on this. Bob Chapek wasn't very high on it, but
Yeah.
is he going to wait till after the 21st, or is he just going to like steamroll ahead? But because you're not going to get more viewers in one place than you will tonight for the Super Bowl. So, and this is going to be a big one. This is probably going to break records of people watching. So, if you want people to get interested, give us a little teaser. And that teaser we saw at Celebration will get people talking, and the internet will break.
Yeah.
And it'll break because of Taylor Swift and the Acolyte.
Yeah. Yeah, I did inquire about getting our podcast advertised on there, but 7 million for 30 seconds, I couldn't quite justify it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a little steep.
Yeah. Awesome. So that wraps up then this week's news. So this week then we posted a question out to the explorers asking which alien species from Star Wars would you pick to choose. Me personally, I just stick with a human because I know a lot about being a human. However, I know a lot of people chose a Wookiee. Yeah, I'm happy with being a human. A lot of people did choose a Wookiee. Here's a few comments that we got.
All right, first up we got Gordon, known as G, said he wanted to be a Mon Calamari over on X. Also Instagram, we had Catherine Tano cosplay. Anyone guesses what she decided she wanted to be? She went with Togruta. What a surprise, which makes total sense, though. Her cosplay is amazing. Go check her out. But yeah, she went with Togruta.
Next, our main guy, Luke Summerfield, mentioned Basilisk, as he would like the 4 arms, but thinks he resembles more of a Wookiee. Clan Brandalorian chose Nautilin, as did Brian from Earth 16.
Awesome. On Facebook then, Mark Ward chose a Gungan, while Steve Dredge mentioned a Wookiee. However, those that know Steve all agree that it's an Ewok, especially with the size and especially the smell.
Last up, Rob Williams chose Soliston, whilst our good friend Johnny O from Starboard Files chose a Duatan. However, he did mention that Ithorians were his favorite race. And FYI, we're going to have a new episode on how we pronounce creatures' names.
Awesome. Make sure you check out that outtakes. This took a lot longer than it should have. Now, like we mentioned at the start of the show, we do have an extra special guest. So, without any more delay. So, yet again, we have been super, super fortunate to have been joined by some incredible guests so far on our podcast, with yet more to come. However, this next person was heavily linked with our question of the week and was actually in the photo on the post. Now, joining us today is someone who's been involved in the costume departments, the visual effects departments, makeup departments, and also an extremely talented actress in the film industry. She's also been involved in many, many films like The Hunger Games, X-Men, Days of Future Past, Alien vs. Predator, and many, many more. She's also massively involved, more than people even realise, in Star Wars. So, without any further delay, today's guest is the fantastic Dawn Dinninger. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
How are you today? How's your week been?
Been good. It was rainy for a lot of the week, and now it's bright and sunny, and you can't even tell anymore.
Awesome. No doubt the listeners now be wondering who you are and what involvement you had in Star Wars. So if you've got a couple of minutes spare, then just give us a brief rundown of your involvement in Star Wars.
In Star Wars, I get to make some of the creatures, and so I'm a fabricator, and I work at a special effects shop. So I will make some of the creatures. I also get to go to set sometimes, and that just means dressing people in your creature suits and taking care of it, especially if something breaks. You have to be able to maintain it and fix it right there because they're ready to shoot in minutes. And then I get to puppeteer, so that's
awesome.
always fun. And luckily, because I do work at Legacy Effects, when I first started with them, they would suggest me to be in suits sometimes. So I would audition for parts, and then I'd get to be in the creature suits. And luckily, because I have that experience, I've gotten to do that in Star Wars also.
That's amazing. I can absolutely relate with you in terms of looking after costumes. We have breakages all the time because we do a lot of charity work in the UK garrison because we're all part of the 501st.
Oh, yeah.
My costume in particular, the Sand Trooper, we're always having bits fall off here and there. So someone's always got some E1000 glue good to go or some duct tape.
Nice.
So I absolutely feel the pain. Absolutely.
Yep. No matter how well you build that thing, something is going to. And especially if you have stunt people wearing them, they're definitely gonna go through a lot.
Nice. All right. So Dawn, given your background and you go on your IMDb page, and it's impressive. I mean, you scroll and scroll all the things you've been a part of. But we are obviously a podcast for about Star Wars. So would you say that you had a love of Star Wars before you got into it? And what would be your favorite go-to Star Wars movie?
I liked Star Wars. I became a much bigger fan once I started working on Star Wars, and I learned a lot that I didn't know about the Star Wars universe, and I still have a ton to learn. Even can't believe how much stuff there is to know, and how everybody keeps it straight. I have no idea. One of my favorite film is the first one that ever came out, so episode 4, and that's mainly because it was the first time you saw all these characters. There was Princess Leia and R2-D2 and C-3PO. Those were my favorites, and so that's the main reason I like that movie the best.
No, that's a good reason. That's nostalgia always plays a big part in that answer for most people.
Yeah, I think you do. What you grew up on.
You can't go wrong with the original.
Yeah.
All right. So again, like I said, I mentioned your IMDb page. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. We were screaming a lot yesterday at a big sports competition with my high school team, so I sound a little crazy. But we see back a movie I love. I don't know if people even know. These guys might be too young since I am the older member of the group. The movie Evolution.
Oh, what a film!
David Duchovny. I mean, pretty awesome. How did you get in, that's the very first place that your credits start. So I guess a couple of questions is how did you get in to the film industry? Did you want to be an actress? I guess it's just actor now, but did you want to do that? Or were you always interested in the special effects side of things? Can you guys just tell us about that journey a little bit?
Yeah, I was. So my first thing I ever worked on was a Coors Light commercial for about 3 days. And it was just really easy stuff. But then my next job that was actually on a real film was Bicentennial Man. So that was the first thing.
Oh,
nice. And the way I got into it was when I was 15, my friend was an extra in Friday the 13th, Part 6. And this is in Georgia. So she made friends with the special effects makeup artist, and then he came to talk to our school. So he just talked to her class though. So he came to say hi to her at lunchtime and everything. And that's when, said hi. And that's when I realized this job existed. And so from that moment on, I knew that I wanted to do special makeup effects or something related to it. And so then I found, I moved out to Northern California because my sister lived there. And I found a mentor in Carmel Valley. So I would drive about an hour and a half each way every Saturday and go learn from him. And I would have to pay him $75. But then if I couldn't afford it, he would just let me do it for free. So I got a lot of money out of it because, I was broke. And that's how I learned everything. And I actually met a couple of people through him that he taught. And so when one of them moved to LA, and I was like, okay, I'm going to move to LA now too. And so he was working at Steve Johnson's Edge Effects, and then he recommended me. So then luckily they hired me, and that's kind of just how I got into it.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. Very cool.
Nice.
What would you say if someone we have some kids that listen? What would you be your advice to them if they wanted to get into this, into the special effects department, the makeup department? What do they got to do to be where you're at eventually? So
one good thing to do is I got lucky and I had a mentor that taught me everything about it, from mold making to, I'm not a good sculptor, but he helped me with that, and, fabrication, everything. But there's schools now that do that. And so there's MUD in Burbank, teaches all of that kind of stuff. And then there's a couple of other ones that I can't think of the names of. And then there's the Stan Winston School that you can do online now. So that's newer so that everybody can learn at home. And there's some interesting things on there. And it's just trying stuff, even if it's just like, I know people who were just made stuff in their bedroom growing up and then slowly just moved out here. You start calling all the shops. Because
Nice.
I didn't know what the effect shops were when I was in Georgia. So I called the operator of all things. And I was like, I just need some phone numbers of some special effects shops in Los Angeles. And luckily I got this lady on the phone that was like, you know what you need? There's this thing called the 411 book in LA. And if you buy that, it'll give you the names of everything in the film industry, phone numbers that you need to call. And so I was just calling all of the effects places and being like, and you have no resume to send. So when they want to see your resume, you're like, you try to take pictures of things you've made at home and you're like, oh gosh, I know this isn't like great quality, but maybe they'll see I can learn some stuff or do some stuff. And a lot of it's just getting that recommendation, or ADI sometimes will hire a lot of interns. And so that's a good way to start too, but they're the only ones that do interns.
Okay. All right. What would you say the craziest costume or makeup you've done throughout your entire career, like either been in or put on somebody? What would you say, like the craziest, most, you hear these horror stories about like Jim Carrey and the Grinch, 6 hours of makeup
This has
chair
to be
time.
Mystique. This has to be Mystique in X-Men.
You know what? I didn't go on set for that, but I worked on some of that costume in the shop. And by the time, instead of just doing a full body makeup, we found this material that was so thin and you could put the appliances and everything on the bodysuit. So then they didn't have to do as much makeup. I mean, she was still there for hours getting the rest of it put on, but they streamlined that a little bit. And there was a project not too long ago that was a Progressive commercial, and it's called the Do It List Monster. And so we had to figure out how to make things look like Post-it notes, that material that wouldn't fray, but it also wouldn't rip. So we had to get fabric. Then on each one, we had to write a note on each one. I should have counted how many Post-it notes we had to cut out and write on. We had to do all of the understructure for the suit too, but it was little Post-it notes was crazy. And we'd see people would go in the shop, we'd be like, here, write some stuff on a Post-it note, like a to-do list, So
That's fun.
There's a lot of weird stuff. There's something we made for Comic-Con one year. And it's a really huge creature that we had 3 people inside of it to maneuver it. And then you also have all the ears on the outside. It was just such a massive, big thing. It was crazy.
That's very cool.
That's insane. I've seen a picture of yourself, Dawn, with Paul Lee, I think it is, in Star Wars, in your Rodian outfit.
Oh, I'm trying to think which picture that is.
It's where you're getting a brief, or he's getting a brief, because I think he's asking for help. I think it's with the pirates off the top of my head. I can't quite remember, but you're stood next to him, like in the doorway.
Oh, I don't know why I can't think of what that is. I've been like 5 Rodians.
Yeah, so we got a question about that later on. But yeah, I think Taylor, you have a couple questions for her, right?
Yeah,
Prisoner my first, and I love playing that Rodian prisoner. And one time I was chained to Tem, and we're walking through the desert, and I can't see what I'm doing anyway, and so that chain got under my foot, and so it tripped Tim, and then I was like, uh-oh. Like in my head, I was like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. And then I could hear him because I had an earwig in, so I can hear what he says, so I can react to him and stuff. And I was like, oh, he sounds mad. But then I found out he wasn't mad when we got done. He goes, oh, that made it look real and authentic. He was just staying in character of like, oh, if he fell, he'd be like, oh, and so it was really funny.
Oh, that's awesome. You're like, I did that.
Well, at first, though, I was like, uh-oh.
Oh, no. Well, I have a couple of questions for you.
Yes.
So I see that you have stunt credits in 3 very different movies: in Underwater, the Twilight franchise, and Smokin' Aces. So what kind of stunts did you have to perform in those? And did it take a lot of training beforehand?
So when I was first doing special effects, this is the naive part of me when I first started. I was like, you'd be off of work for months at a time, and you're like, oh, how can I fill that? And then I was like, stunts, I really like stunts. That would be fun to do because I was athletic. And so I started questioning those guys on set about how to get into it. So for a little while, I was trying to do both. And so I had hustle stunt coordinators here, and I did some live stunt shows at theme parks, and then I did commercials. But then I would try to do that. But if you want to do that, you really need to do that full time because you have to stay training. And so there's some training stuff that I did do. And but then I started working so much with special effects. I was like, okay, if a stunt job lands in my lap, I will gladly take it. And so sometimes my creatures will have to do stunts. And so a lot of times I'll be able to do my own stunt. Sometimes a coordinator will for me, but usually they do.
Awesome. Nice.
What's it been like to... Sorry, Dawn, go on.
The stunts I did, I forgot to tell you what they were. In Smokin' Aces, you have to have a stunt person because I was a bike messenger and I was basically wiping the frame, going across frame while somebody was getting shot with, a gun. And so it was really firing, but it's blanks and all that stuff. And so in case something goes wrong, it has to be a stunt person. So I just had to ride past them getting shot. And Underwater we made the suits for them to wear underwater, and we had to make them so that the suits didn't fall apart in the water because the glue sometimes if we use a glue, dissolve,
right.
Stuff. So we had to figure out how to make suits they could wear out of the water and in the water. And so we tested them out in a pool down the street from where I work. And so we would test, and I would be the guinea pig. And so we'd be like, well, this is filling up with water. Or like the first thing we did, we were like, okay, this is a great idea. And I made some gasket thing to, try to keep the water out. And instead, when I went down, it felt like it was like wanted to choke me. And I was like, I don't think the actors are going to like this. I was like, so then we finally had some guys that are, professional divers and everything. And they came up with a solution. And so we tested that out at the pool and it worked. And I was really comfortable doing that. And so when we were on set, there was a time where, Kristen Stewart's stunt double was working doing a stunt over here, and they needed her double to also do this underwater scene. And so they were like, Dawn, you tested all this stuff. Why don't you just do it? And I was like, okay, I'll be the one stuck down there in the water. And so I just kind of got to fill in for that because you can't see her face or anything, but she's stuck tunnel by rocks and stuff. And so I did that. And what was the third one? It was Underwater.
Smokin' Aces.
Smokin' Aces.
No, the Twilight.
Twilight. Oh.
Right.
So that was just playing some nondescript vampire, just doing fights in the background on the big battle scene. So, because I had my phone in my little jacket pocket of my costume, and they were setting up. It was between takes, and my sister happened to call. Usually I just don't answer, but I just answered real fast, and she was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I go, "Hey, I can't talk. I'm about to run into battle." And she was like, that was the weirdest thing I ever heard. So she called me later, and I was like, you forget when it's out of context what's going on. So
she's
Nice.
like, the grocery store?
yeah, right.
LA's rough.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
What's it been like to work on all these Disney Plus shows, Dawn?
Oh gosh, they've been really fun. I never thought I'd work on a Star Wars anything because it's always done in England. So I was just felt fortunate enough to be on The Mandalorian in the first place, and then to be lucky enough to have been on all the shows so far, and just it starts to feel like a family, and you're with the same people over and over. So that's really nice. There's almost like a shorthand when you're working, and then because of that, Dave Filoni's after I played the prisoner Rodian, they were happy, and they know I can tolerate all the stuff on me, and so he keeps asking me to play other parts, and so that was actually a big compliment one time when he goes, "Oh, hey Dawn, do you want to got this character?" And in my head I'm like, yes, and I'm like, just say, "Can you play this?" And he always asks like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? What? Who is it?"
If you ever need any help, Dawn, just drop us a message. I'll happily fly over.
We're all over the world, so one of us will be available.
Perfect.
Which Disney show has been your favourite to work on? Which one have you enjoyed the most?
There was something about Book of Boba Fett that was so much fun to work on, and I think it's because of Tim and Ming Na. When their energy they have on set is just so happy and fun all the time that I really enjoyed working on that show. And it did hurt that it was kind of right after we're still kind of in COVID, so we could only do 10-hour shooting days, and so you get an hour after, so you're like, great, I'm only doing a 12-hour day. And so it just felt shorter, and so it was fun.
And so that would be like your favourite show that you've worked on. Obviously, I take it that you've watched them all. Which show is your favourite that you've watched?
Watching, it's a hard one between Ahsoka and Mandalorian.
Nice.
Yeah, those are awesome shows.
Nice. Obviously, you played quite a few Rodians. Which Rodian's been your favourite, and did Lieutenant Moat survive as well?
Lieutenant.
I think my favorite to play was the prisoner, and that was because it was my first one. It's the one that's been on screen the most. But when they asked me to play Lieutenant Mowat, I was so excited because I was like, I get to fly in an X-wing? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And when Dave asked me to play Lieutenant Beta, he goes, "And your character won't die for once. I'm sorry, I'm always killing you off." So Lieutenant died. He did die.
Oh, gutting. Another question for you. I don't know if you'll be able to answer this either, though. But if you was able to take any prop or costume home and you had the opportunity to, what would it be?
Ooh.
Would it be one I wore or one I've made?
Let's say one you've got access to.
One of my favorite ones to work on and to build was Black Chrysanthemum.
Oh my gosh.
So I think I might take that one.
That is a great shout. That is a
Just the whole
fantastic
thing.
shout. Oh man, I absolutely love it.
I gotta ask you about Ahsoka. What is it like flying an X-wing? I mean, because that's like every little kid's dream is to fly an X-wing, and
you're
you got to do it.
And you're just like, you really wish you had the entire plane with you, but still, you're in the cockpit, and then you're like, So you first get in, you're just looking around at all the buttons, and you're like a little kid. You just want to press all the buttons and
Just start going for it.
Yeah, and they're talking to you, telling you like, okay, now this happens or whatever, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I didn't know if I was gonna. I knew I was gonna die, but I didn't know like exactly how. So, like you kind of find that out in the middle, and so I don't know. It's really fun. It's just kind of like it's what you expect, what you're imagining.
Yeah.
That's how. So.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Obviously, you've mentioned Tem quite a bit as well. Is he your favourite actor that you've worked with, or is there another actor that you just absolutely adore working with?
I absolutely loved working with Hugh Jackman.
Oh, what a legend!
Yeah.
Ooh.
So, because we made the fat blob costume.
Oh yes.
And then we also had Hugh's claws, and there was a point where they were like, at first I wasn't doing it, but partway through the film, they're like, here, Don, you can take care of the claws while the makeup artist had to do something else. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. So I kind of followed him around everywhere, but he was just the nicest guy. He learns everybody's name on set. He says hi to everybody. He eats with the crew. He gives these little scratchers once a week, so you get your little scratch-off lottery ticket to see if you win anything.
Okay.
Awesome.
Really? He's like a grandpa.
Yeah. He's really fun. He's just genuinely nice, and he would sometimes. My box was really light of what I had to carry to set, but sometimes he'd be like, "I'll get that for you," and he would carry it instead of having me do it. It's the little things that make you go, "Oh God, he's so nice."
Oh.
Is there ever, don't give us a name, but is there ever anybody you've ever had to work with the complete opposite of that? Like you're just like, ugh, I can't wait to be done with this.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes. Don't even have to think about it.
It doesn't happen a lot, but every once in a while. Yeah.
Obviously, you've got some good stories there about Dave Filoni. What about Jon Favreau? You got some good stories about him? Any interactions with John?
My interactions with him are so good. Like when he's on set, and especially if you're playing a character, he will go give you the backstory and just be like, and so you've been doing this and this, and you've gone through this. So he just explains it to where you're like, oh, okay, now I know I need to act. Where not everybody does that. You just kind of show up and then you start doing it and they correct you along the way. But he gives you a reason why you would do a certain thing. And there was a point where there's a character I play in something that's coming up. And I was really nervous and I didn't know anything about the character because they give you the sides and it's just what you're shooting like that day. So you don't even know the backstory or what's going on.
Yeah.
And I asked his assistant, I saw her on set and I said, so if there's a possibility, could I talk to John? I have a question about this character on this other show. And so she was like, okay. And I'd say within the next hour or two, he was down there and he goes, Dawn, I hear you have some questions for me. And so he explained the character. And then when I showed up to set, I was like, okay, I feel 10 times, I'm still nervous, but I still feel better just talking to him. Just calms you down.
Yeah,
awesome.
The pressure's like off. Oh,
yeah.
Did you get to?
I heard Katie Sackhoff. Go ahead, Jack.
Jimmy.
Sorry.
Go on, mate. You're all right.
Well, I heard Katie Sackhoff talking with, I think it was Bryce Dallas Howard or Sam Witwer, just about how, like, she's ready to fight people who talk bad about like Disney shows and things like that. Like how tight you guys are as a family. So it really sounds like, you start hearing it from lots and lots of people. It sounds like a really great environment to work in.
It is. So. It's really great. One thing about Bryce was she's so excited about it that she's fun to work for. And then one day I was playing like the Rodian mom and she goes, here, come here. I want to show you something. And she took me in her dressing room and she showed me like the schematics of what we were going to be doing that day. And my part was so simple. She didn't really need to to do that. And the fact that she did that and explained everything and took me to the side, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's so nice, and she's just so excited. Fun.
I'd love to meet.
Awesome.
I'd love to meet her. I would. I think she's
She
fantastic.
seems like amazing. Yeah, I just watched Argyle with her in that, and she was awesome in that. And
that looks good.
She seems like just such a fun person to be around, and her dad obviously a great role model for her. And so
I keep
who doesn't love Opie?
That.
Yeah, that would be. So these two don't know who Opie is, but it's fine.
It's fine, Jack. We'll just come something else to talk about.
Yeah. Speaking of great people as well, did you have much interaction with the late Ray Stevenson?
I did not. I only got to see him from across the room.
Yeah.
But my boyfriend worked with him and really, really liked him and said what a great guy he was. So he's disappointed he won't be on there anymore.
Yeah.
I think we all will be.
Yeah, massively. And just speaking of, obviously, Star Wars royalty, now we know stories of where, like, Mark Hamill's just come down to the set to have a look around. Have you had any experiences where, like, I don't know, Harrison Ford's been said hello or anything like
that? When Lucas came on set, I was like, oh my God, he's here, so we're all excited. And I walk around a corner and I practically ran into him, and I didn't even notice it until I got past him, and I was like, oh my gosh, but at least I was like, okay, I saw him.
Brilliant.
Every once in a while they'll bring somebody through, and oh gosh, Elon Musk was there one time.
Oh wow,
that was interesting.
Now
I didn't know who he was until somebody told me we're open for it. I was like, thank you, and everybody's like, do you know who that was? I don't know. And I can't think of, but yeah, other actors have come through for little tours and stuff, and there's one
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
cool. No dramas there. And obviously, speaking of Star Wars royalty, obviously you mentioned that you had a hands-on with puppeteering. What other Star Wars royalty have you puppeteered?
Sometimes I get to do the background creatures, but then I have helped puppeteer Grogu. So
Din Grogu.
There's like 4 main guys that puppeteer him, but then the times where we have 2 units going on at once, and so we'll have 2 Grogus going on, so we need more puppeteers, or they'll need a 5th person, and so my friend Tamara and I will be the other puppeteer. And I got to help with Hu Yang on
Oh no, I love him.
He's so cool, even in real life. Like, both of those characters, you see them in real life, and they feel as real as they do watching them on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Five people for such a little character, Grogu.
I know, right? Like, somebody
does
an eyes, and somebody does ears, and then you have the head, and then you have the hands, and then...
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything exciting in the works for 2024, 2025 that you can tell us about?
I'm excited. I worked on Skeleton Crew, so I'm excited for that. And I don't think somebody said the other day that's coming out in the fall of 2024. So I'm like, so long.
Really?
That's the rumors, anyways.
Yeah. So I hear the same things you guys hear. And it's like, unless someone specifically tells us, we don't get to find out.
What about the Acolyte, Dawn? That's my thing at the minute.
I didn't work on it. But I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I think it's going to be good.
How was your experience on the Skeleton Crew without telling us anything you're not allowed to tell us? Like, was it just the same, like, family-oriented? Do you get to work with Jude Law at all, or?
Yes, it was good. Jude Law is so good at and talented. He you can watch it, it's interesting to watch him work because he stands there and the director will tell him what to do and he'll go, okay, well then maybe I'll do this or then I'll do that, and you're like, oh, I would have never thought about that. And then what he does like makes it the scene even better than it was gonna be. So he's really interesting to watch, and he's really nice, and he was really good with all the kids too.
Oh, good.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm super excited for Skeleton Crew.
Me too.
So is Jack, by the way.
We'll see. We'll see. I just need the acolyte. That's all I need is the acolyte.
Oh, I'm excited for all of it.
Yeah, I can't wait. So,
yeah.
Well done. Thank you very much for coming on the show. Obviously, we've had over 30 minutes of your time now. We won't keep you too long. Again, just from all of us, thank you so much for coming on. I super, super appreciate it. Again, I just want to say I'm absolutely starstruck because I can't believe how many films you've actually been in that I've watched as well, even from Evolution. I absolutely loved Evolution. I loved Aliens vs Predator, X-Men, Hunger Games. I don't think there's anything that you've been in that I've not enjoyed, so yeah.
Yeah, right? I'm like looking at the list, I'm like telling my husband, I'm like, look at this! It was good. We all got pretty excited for this.
Thanks. Yeah, really fun.
Good. Thanks
for
very
joining
much,
us, Don. And
hopefully we'll be able to get you back after the Skeleton Crew has been released and get your thoughts on it and what you enjoyed working on that. See if you tripped anyone else up.
No,
you helped the scene.
Okay, so hope you all enjoyed the interview. It's absolutely fantastic having Dawn on. Obviously, she played a hell of a load of parts, especially Rodians, being her favourite alien race. Like I said, me personally, I'll just stick with a human. What about you, Jimmy? What race would you go for?
Well, I think I'd have to go with Wookiee, given my love affair of the big fur balls.
Makes sense. Taylor?
Well, because of my love of blue, I think I would just be a Pantoran with like the blue skin and the gold face markings, because I think in Star Wars face tattoos look so cool, but in real life it would just look so terrible,
Nice. That wraps it up then for this week's show. Again, thank you so much for tuning in and joining. Please leave loads of feedback, rate us on Spotify or your listening broadcast of choice. Again, if you're watching on YouTube as well, please subscribe and like. Again, leave any feedback you can. As always, join us on the socials at Explore the Force on Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitter, same thing, TikTok, and YouTube. Again, please feel free to email us as well at exploretheforce@gmail.com. So, as always, from Taylor.
For light and life.
And from me, let the Wookiee win.
Good advice, Jack. Good advice. And for all of us, we have spoken. See you next week.
See you next week.
Yeah! See you, Wookiees.